Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another bullet journal plan with me video. This time it is a weekly spread in my journal. We are back in the bathroom again because this is the one place in my house with good lighting, and I'm really appreciating this like golden hour like sunshine. And this week we'll be doing a jasmine dragon like Avatar the Last Airbender jasmine dragon theme. If you haven't watched Avatar, I highly recommend. I think it's on Netflix or they just pulled it off Netflix, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere. It's a really great cartoon. It's like definitely not just a kids show. They address like some really like complex like themes, and the characters are really lovable, and it's just a great story overall. So yeah, highly recommend. And for all you Avatar fans, this one's for you. I am doing an Uncle Iroh and Jasmine Dragon themed spread because I have slowly been working my way through each of like the four nations. I had an air temple spread and a water tribe spread already, so this will be my version for Earth Kingdom, and I'll be doing Fire Nation next sometime soon. Let me know if there's a specific Fire Nation like city or scene that you want me to do. And honestly, I really like the Earth Kingdom's like architecture and style because like Ba Sing Se, Omashu, like everything about it, like I probably would do another one just because Omashu is really cool, like with all the slides and stuff. But I just wanted to do a Jasmine Dragon theme spread because like green is my favorite color. I also really love tea. Uncle Iroh is such a great character, and I thought it was such a nice like peaceful theme. So we started by drawing the White Lotus Pai Sho tile at the top left, and now I'm just going in the line art for the Jasmine Dragon tea shop that they opened like in the show. I don't really want to spoil anything, but like I just referenced like a screenshot from the show. They use very like traditional, I want to say it's like Chinese architecture, like, but I'm not completely sure. I'm pretty sure that the Earth Kingdom like architecture is like very similar, or at least like even like the Earth Kingdom like the Earth King's like palace is very similar to like Forbidden City or something. So I'm pretty sure it's Chinese architecture. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It's like I'm definitely not. I didn't look this up. My bad. This is just the Jasmine Dragon tea shop, and I'm using a Sakura Pigma Micron to do all of my line art here. Next up, we're doing the lanterns that hang inside the tea shop. I literally only saw like 2 screenshots online of these lanterns, so I had to be a little like, I had to wing it a little on the details because they were pretty blurry screenshots, but also don't come at me for the perspective on these. They're definitely not accurately like drawn, like in terms of like the proportion and like angles, but it's okay. I think it looks nice, and I really like drawing these lanterns. And they have these like tassels on the end, and I wasn't really thinking about like the physics of like how these tassels would hang. I was just kind of eyeballing it, and I think it's fine. So yeah, I've just finished my second week of this school term. It's been pretty good so far. A little busy because I had a couple big projects and assignments due at the end of the week, but I actually managed to finish them like a couple days ahead of time because I started really early, and it felt like really good to be done ahead of time versus like working until the last like hour before the deadline. So now this weekend I get a chance to relax, which is really nice. I can catch up on Attack on Titan, maybe even start watching Demon Slayer. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer. Let me know which one to watch first, but I will definitely get around to both of those because I hear really good things about them, and they look really good. And then the last drawing here is a cup of jasmine tea. Jasmine tea is also my favorite tea. I think, like, I've tried like all the other ones at like dim sum restaurants. This one is still just my favorite, and I drew some like jasmine flowers and like the jasmine tea leaves around it. I think it's also like Uncle Iroh's favorite tea or something, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, here's my little sushi tray that I use to like hold what I'm working with, like the pens I'm working with. And it's time to go in with colors. So for all of the colors in this spread, I am using Tombow dual brush pens, a light green and dark green, and a light brown and a dark brown. You'll see them in a bit. And yeah, so we're going to start off by coloring the Pai Sho tile. And honestly, I really hated the coloring of how this turned out. I think there wasn't enough contrast, and like the details of the tile didn't really pop out very well. Like, see, I'm using a lighter brown marker right now, but you can barely tell that there's no visible differences, so it looks really messy. And like, so here's what I did. I cut out like a piece of paper, I drew it again, I just glued it on top. Honestly, I do that way more often than you think in like my journals, and it's just a very great way to cover mistakes. So always have a bit of like scrap paper, and yeah, very easy way to hide mistakes, and they don't, they're not obvious if you glue them down well enough. I used the black Tombow brush pen to just write January in a really simple like brush letter. It's not really like calligraphy or like a script or anything. Yeah. And now we're going in with the green Tombows to color in the lanterns. They're supposed to be like all green based on the screenshots I saw from the show, but I wanted to throw in like a little bit of gold, like yellow color, because in the show, like the Earth Kingdom has a lot of like green and yellow, like, or green and gold color palette. Like it's a green and gold color palette. So I wanted to add in like a bit of an accent there, and yeah. Green is probably my favorite color. Like I said before, like my room is green. I really like forest green and like sage green, moss green, except I don't wear green. That's the one thing. Like maybe it just doesn't like suit my skin tone very well, or like maybe I'm just like not confident enough to wear the green, but or I'm just kind of boring. I don't know, but I just don't wear green very often. Yeah. Next up, we're doing the teacup in the bottom right. First, we're coloring in the jasmine flowers and leaves. They're all white with a little bit of like yellow. See, I learned what the name was for those little things in the middle, like the yellow things, but I forgot. Like I learned this in my bio class, but I forgot. And I wanted to make the cup look like those like hand potted, not those like a ceramic, like the ones that like a potter like does on the clay wheel, like it's handmade, like ceramics, but like I had to kind of darken it a lot more so that it would stand out from the leaves, but that's okay. I think it looks okay, and you'll see how I like improve this a little bit later. Next, we're going in with coloring the tea shop, which was by far the hardest just because of all the details. There's like all the windows, and then I also wanted to make sure that the brown tiles on the roof like stood out, like the vertical tiles. So I just had to go over it quite a few times with like a vertical brush stroke, you know what I mean? And if you haven't watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, highly recommend watching it once again. Also watch Legend of Korra. I know there's like mixed reviews about it, but personally I really enjoyed Legend of Korra. That's like the sequel series. And my favorite part of it actually was like the world building, where they kind of like expanded upon like the Avatar universe for the next like 100 years, like after the events of The Last Airbender, or maybe not 100 years, but basically in like the years after The Last Airbender, like how did like all of the nations and like civilizations like advance, like they start to have like technology and stuff like that, and how does that mix with bending? I always thought that was the coolest thing when I watched Legend of Korra. Like they had like planes and stuff, and like, okay, I don't want to like spoil too hard, but honestly the show has been out for so long. Like they have like planes and stuff, and like metal bending is more common, and like they have like cities where like the benders, like people from all the nations live together. I think it's like called Republic City or something, which is so funny because it's like just straight up, it's like saying like Townville, like Republic City, I don't know. Okay. And yeah, I just thought it was like a great show, actually. Like it was a fun watch. And yeah, out of all the characters for like Avatar, at least, I'd probably say Sokka is my favorite. I think a lot of people would say Sokka is their favorite, so like I'm by no means being like original or like not basic or whatever, but yeah. And then I think if I was in the Avatar universe, I'd probably be a firebender. Like I think that's the closest to like my personality. Yeah, also like lightning redirection, oh shoot, another spoiler, is like very cool to me. I think it's so cool. So yeah, shoot, I totally missed out on what I was like doing on this spread. Yeah, I just did the usual like events bar. If you've been watching my videos, this is pretty standard stuff. I like to create a little like table on the left side just for all my events for each day of the week. And then I'm doing a really simple like circle like or like blob for the header. And then I'm using a Tombow Furenosuke brush pen in hard tip to write the days of the week in like a very messy like loose script. And then finally, this is the first time I've put a quote in my journal like for a while. It's "Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not." And that's a quote from Uncle Iroh in the show. And honestly, I literally never put quotes in my journal, but I just thought it was really fitting because Uncle Iroh has so many like words of wisdom throughout the whole show. And yeah, I don't know, I'm not one to write like motivational quotes in a weekly spread, mostly just because they don't help me very much. And like if like they help you, then sure, but for me it feels like just kind of weird like to say these motivational quotes like to myself or like write them out. But I obviously wanted to throw in a little tribute to Uncle Iroh because he is definitely one of the best characters in the show. So yeah, I added a mini calendar because, as you know, I like to fill the space. I'm one of those people who can't stand having like blank white space in their journal. Like at the end of the week, I will fill it up. Like I tend to write like quite long to-do lists anyway, but I don't like having large amounts of blank space. So yeah. I think just a few finishing touches here. I added a bit of a drop shadow to the main like January title, a couple tea leaves next to it, or like just leaves I guess. And then I'm darkening the tea itself, but you can't see it because it's off screen. That's my bad. And the game changer here was using the black brush pen, like the small one, to gently outline the outside edge of all the drawings. So this was just a way to like make it stand out from the page and adds like, because you know how different line weights can add depth to your drawings, like if you have thick and thin lines versus all your lines having the same width. Like it works for certain styles, but I think adding weight to your lines is really good when you want to have like a more dynamic drawing. I think that's why a lot of like artists like to use a brush pen versus just like a plain pen. So yeah, that is the finished spread after some erasing. Hopefully you guys like it. This is definitely one of my favorites. Like I say at the end of every video, I really love this spread and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to check me out on Etsy, TikTok, and Instagram, all of them at lexiesdesk. And yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and yeah, bye.